Got my Thunder Bay Border Cats baseball hat on in order to honor our most famous person from Thunder Bay these days, Canadian Health Minister Patty Hydu. I just want to remind people that, being from an isolated community like Thunder Bay, Patty knows what it's like to be not near a major center and, sometimes having to travel to a major center to get health care. And we just want to remind the world that in Canada, it's illegal for people who are palliative, in other words, on death's door, it's illegal for them to access illegal things made illegal by the Canadian federal government. And Ms. Hydu has decided to give some of these people who apply to her the honor of accessing things that might smooth their transition, such as magic mushrooms, psilocybin. You have to apply, and apparently there's a 10-day turnaround period where they review your file, make sure that you're, not quite dead, but, pretty much there. And then Minister Hydu will sign a minister's permit to allow you to have your psychedelic trip, which is supposed to, ease people's anxiety when they're facing, the final doorway. I just want to remind people that Thunder Bay, Ontario, has produced a number of very brilliant people over the years. Longtime musician Paul Schaefer was the leader of the band for the David Letterman show for a very long time. Canadian Chief Justice, the equivalent of the Supreme Court of the United States. The Canadian version came from Thunder Bay. His name was Bora Laskin. In any event, I just wanted to put Patty Hydu's name up there as prominent Canadians, and then we're going to also put her in a second category of Asshole of the Year. Minister Well, if you watched me before, I've told you about Canadian Health Minister Hydu, the one who told the whole country to go into lockdown. And, she's above the fray. So while everyone else was told no traveling, Minister Hydu was hopping on probably a government jet flying between the nation's capital and her hometown, Thunder Bay, while everyone else was told you got to just sit there and stew and wait it out. It's good enough for the people, but it's never good enough for Minister Hydu, who learned how to be a snob from her boss, Canadian Prime Minister and snowboard instructor, Justin the Fuck Trudeau. Anyways, does Patty Hydu really understand COVID-19? Does she understand? No, she doesn't understand the first thing about anything. She is pretty much one of those people that, gets passed around because, she's got blonde hair and she's, she can show up. But seriously, her mental abilities are sorely lacking. And as a typical liberal, she has no graciousness whatsoever. I keep reminding you on this channel that when her boss, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, came to Thunder Bay, he ordered $300 of pizzas, and he had the pizza delivery man deliver it to two separate locations, and then, the pizza delivery man is just sort of standing there, and all the liberals turned around and waited for the pizza man to leave because they didn't tip the guy on a $300 bill. This is your Canadian politician class. They are, she's white and he's white. They have white privilege. And they also have elite privilege. They have do as I say but not as I do privilege, they're pretty much scum of the earth. And, you know, what good things can I tell you about the Liberal government of Canada? Well, they're pretty much on their way out. They refuse to show up in Canadian Parliament to face the opposition and to present bills to be passed into law. They hide from Parliament, and Justin Trudeau is known as the last dictator. He learned how to be a dictator from his dickhead father, Pierre Trudeau. We don't want to tell you that Canadians are fed up, because a lot of Canadians like assholes like Justin Trudeau. They pretty much put them in there so that other Canadians can go, fuck, I hate that guy. And then silently, you know, they snicker and they say, I voted for that son of a bitch just so I could get that look on your face. Canadians do that to one another. They're known to elect people who are absolutely the worst people available, and they re-elect them time after time because they really like to stick it to other Canadians. It's a Canadian trait. In Thunder Bay, we had the most famous mayor ever in Canada. His name was Walter Assev. He used to be on vaudeville, which is, you know, in the 1920s, going up on stage and making an ass of yourself. Walter Assev was constantly belligerent as mayor of Thunder Bay. He chewed out anybody and everyone who stepped forward into the city council chambers. And when Queen Elizabeth came to visit Thunder Bay, he pinched her ass in the Thunder Bay airport. Gives you a good idea of the quality of people that get elected to office from Thunder Bay. They're pretty much assholes, just like everyone else from Thunder Bay. And I am from Thunder Bay, and everyone knows that I am one of those too. So, greetings from Thunder Bay, and unfortunately, the Thunder Bay baseball team didn't play this year because Patty Hydu and Justin Trudeau sold us the plandemic scamdemic of COVID-19. And I gotta tell you, there's a lot of people in Thunder Bay who are just dumb as a stump, and they still are going along with it, wearing their homemade masks. You know, they're certainly not of medical grade, and, you know, they just love to go to certain spots in town where they don't wear their masks, and they get in real close and tight to one another, and they snicker because there's no policy police around to give them a fine for not wearing their fucking masks. I'm not going to tell you where those places are, but they do exist, and people in Thunder Bay really know that you have to avoid the policy police and the bylaw enforcement people and the federal cops. Just like everybody in every other city on planet Earth, you have to go to a speakeasy to avoid these kind of people. And generally speaking, the owners of the speakeasies have to pay off these policy police so that they can continue to provide such a lovely service for